Welcome. I was actually about to hit the gym with my man, but he does daily card readings. And in his card readings, the exact pattern showed up that I wanted to speak about. And I wasn't sure I wanted to record on Sunday. But as he mentioned that and he didn't know about that, I realized, okay, I think it's time for the recording right now. I don't like when my creation gets backed up. So it felt like the timing was now. So here I am. And the topic is going to be really, really expansive. Okay? Because the topic is the expansion of our container, of our frequency fence. And the whole recording is going to be about cutting the addiction to suffering, transmuting the addiction to suffering. And so as we get into this, I shared that in my recording with Christina that I haven't uploaded yet, but what I am here for is to create the life of my dreams and assist other women to create the life of their dreams. Of course, not just women, but I specifically choose to work with women in my online spaces and my healing containers. I do that with my man and in my field, my brothers. But to me, living the dream means that I am sovereign and that I create the laws that are running in my reality. My imagination is setting up the laws that govern my reality. And my imagination is God. So this is the path that I'm walking. This is what I'm teaching and assisting others in. And so for that, let's speak about these laws. What does that mean? Because that is very much connected to our belief system. So for that, what is our belief system? And I made a lot of notes. So a belief system is a law that governs your reality, or a law that governs our reality. We have collective belief systems that a lot of us subconsciously submit to and therefore live according to the laws that someone else created. But as we are embodying our sovereign power as creator beings, we're able to transmute these laws that we subconsciously followed or were programmed to follow, and we are creating our own laws according to God, according to nature's law. And God is within, so I get to decide what this law is. I get to set up my reality and architect my reality the way it serves me in my highest good. And when it serves me in my highest good, it serves everyone around me. So these laws or these belief systems that are now laws that govern our reality are, again, subconscious. Some of them are collective programming. Some of them are in our DNA. And at this point in time, we have all the tools that are necessary to completely reprogram all of this and create our dream by creating belief systems and therefore laws that serve us and serve our soul, serve our being, serve our evolution. So a belief system is basically an energetic law that makes experiences fit into a frequency fence. That's the best way I can explain it. In its sense, all laws are somehow limiting, all belief systems are somehow limiting, because a belief system creates a container, or how I call it, they create a frequency fence. They govern our experience. So they are the structure for our experience. And a structure, therefore, is always, it's limiting space because it's creating a container. Now, in a healthy system, in a healthy body, we have the conscious capacity to expand that frequency fence, to expand that container. At some points, tight containers suit us very, very well. Let's say the womb space in our mother's womb. It's a really tight container, right? It's a really tight structure. Yes, we can move, but it's tight. And what that creates is a lot of safety. We feel very safe in our mother's womb. We feel very safe, snuggled up, like really tightly contained. So not all limiting containers are bad. As long as they serve us, they're beautiful. You get to decide, though, if it's still serving you. You get to be that aware that you consciously decide, yes, I'm in this limiting container. Yes, I'm in this frequency fence, and it's serving me. And you get to decide when to expand that. So again, not all containers, not all frequency fences that are small or tight are bad. Like I worked in this beautiful, gorgeous mansion, like hidden in Sedona, like a temple space. I had the honor to work there with two beautiful women. And so we had the option to basically work in any. Oh shit, wait, sorry, my battery is running low. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna get my charger. Okay. I'm back. Give me 1 second. All right, back at it. Okay, so I was working in this, again, beautiful like temple space. Not even a house. Like the house felt like a spaceship in Sedona, in this private gated community. Just, yeah, it was a really upgrading experience to be in that space. And so we basically had the option to work and do the session in every room in the house. And the quantum healing sessions are long. So I'm with the person for however long it feels right. That might sometimes be 5 hours, but that often is also 8, 9, 10 hours. Like the session is done when it's done. And she had all of these beautiful rooms, but there was this one tiny room, and it was almost just a bed fit into it. And she was almost like, yeah, forget about this room. But me and her friend that was also there were like, I think we want to work in that one. And so we did our first session in there. And then the next day I had the session with the house owner, and she was like, you know what? I think I like it too, because it's this snuggly womb space. And so sometimes, again, it all depends on the circumstances. So in that case, like she had all of these beautiful, gorgeous rooms, but we decided that, you know what, for the session, this womb space, this tiny, cozy room where there's almost just space enough for a bed, that's our space. That's where we want to work in. And it served us so well for the session because it felt so safe. So I want you to think about your belief systems as the laws that govern reality. And your belief systems are whatever serves you the most in each moment. And if that little tiny womb space of a belief system serves you well, beautiful. But what is vital is to know when you've outgrown it. Okay, so the baby is in there for 9 months. And at 9.5 months, all of a sudden this gets really, really uncomfortable. So it's like really wanting to come out. Like this is getting too big for the container. So the baby will come out naturally when this container isn't serving it anymore. So we learn that with birth, right? We learn that, hey, this is getting too tight. I want something more expansive. And the baby comes through through the portal. And there all of a sudden is this expansive new world. Completely different. And before that, and it's really, that is what container expansion looks like. That is what breaking limiting belief systems look like when they're confining. We felt safe in them for a while. But at a certain point, when we're evolving, when we're growing, and we always are, stagnancy is not natural. We're always evolving. We're always expanding, always growing. Like the baby, yes, the womb felt safe. The womb felt known. But yet it got too tight. And maybe there was an unknowingness of what that new world would be like. But here we go. So it's natural for you to do the same. But there are certain addictions that are running us, fear, certain really almost toxic belief patterns or stagnancy patterns that are creating dissonance in your life. Because a part of you, an aspect of you, your soul wants to expand. But there's an indoctrination of fear that is like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do this. And how does that feel like? When your soul is constantly pushing, but a destructive programming is containing. So what we are relearning is the beauty of, our soul wants to expand. It's getting a little uncomfortable here. This is when triggers come up. This is when tightness in the chest comes up. So this is our time to, we'll expand. And in that, we're stepping into a whole new world. We expanded our frequency fence. That means we're stepping into a new frequency. And from that new frequency, or from that new lived frequency, we might experience a whole new way of existing. That is natural. That is the beauty of life. So a lot of us have to relearn what came so natural to us at birth. Yeah, we're going through a portal, which is a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe not, depends on how flexible you are, I guess. And there's this whole new world. So your belief systems are the energetic laws that create your frequency fence and that structure your experience. So maybe this is here, or maybe this is here. You decide. You choose consciously. So in that, we get to heal our addiction to suffering. Because when we get addicted to that one container, it becomes suffering, because it becomes suffocating. And we can get used to this feeling. We can get very used to that, which is, again, like an addiction. And I want to start off with the example of a relationship. Because a healthy relationship, the way it is intended to by nature, is here to navigate us out of this realm. It's here to help us and stay committed to expand our frequency fence. And I wrote this down. Yeah. So this is a really cool example of how this frequency fence can cause suffering if we do not expand it properly. So think about it. You meet this man and you meet this new person, okay? And in the beginning, there is this beautiful, expansive feeling, what we call being in love. It feels expansive. It feels blissful. It feels just like beauty is pouring into our life and we feel high on life. That is because life gave us a glimpse of this. When you meet a person, there is this openness. As we then engage with this person, due to our trauma, once we make this person ours, right? We start to do this. We start to confine the experience into the frequency fence that is known to us. Okay? So this frequency fence is the structure that subconsciously created an experience and decided how much beauty is allowed, how much wealth is allowed, how much abundance is allowed, how much laughter is allowed, how much time in which your heart is open and love is pouring in is allowed. All of that is in that container. And when we experience trauma, naturally, or unfortunately, not naturally, but unfortunately due to trauma, instead of living from here, we're oftentimes living from here, right? You can only make $2,000 a month. You have to work a 9 to 5. Your friends, they gossip, like all of that. Your relationships, they stay whatever, superficial, or there's a lot of fighting. All of that is in this container due to the trauma. Subconsciously, the trauma created this container. You witnessing your parents and how they navigated life. You copied their behaviors. And if they didn't live from this very abundant, expansive, beautiful state, yeah, that is more in according to your soul. If they lived here, you probably copy and pasted that. And so now you're trying or you're attempting to fit this experience into this one. We've all done that. We've all been there. A lot of us are still doing that. We're always still doing that because it's continuous. But the relationship is a beautiful example. So we're here, we meet, our souls meet, and our souls recognize, and we're in this expansive state. But then once we get into the relationship, once we decided, yes, we're in this container together, what happens is this a lot of times, right? So now all of a sudden this honeymoon phase, which in my reality, it never ends. It only gets better and better. But there is a phase of recalibration. And a lot of us, we haven't been initiated into this. This knowledge wasn't passed on, or this knowledge didn't exist. People didn't make these connections. So what happens in a healthy commitment is, okay, we meet each other in this expansive state, and we remember this state of expansiveness. We were both here to mirror that this is where we're meant to live from. We come together in the container, and our trauma will do this. Our trauma will turn something beautiful into something problematic. Our trauma will turn something intimate and transformative into something mundane and superficial, right? This can happen in our trauma because our frequency fence can only hold this right now, can only hold this frequency. In a healthy, divine union, we come together and decide, okay, I see you here. I am aware that I'll probably going to do this. And this is where commitment comes in, because a divine union is committing to the ultimate truth. And the ultimate truth is in your heart. It's always in your heart. Your heart is the space for truth. So we are committed to truth, which means that everything that is creating this frequency fence will have to go. That's a conscious decision. That's a conscious agreement in a divine union. So this is why the first 2 years is the calibration time. In this time, this frequency fence is creating a lot of problems, is creating a lot of pain, basically, because we're transmuting old trauma to do this. Now, the honeymoon phase will never die, but the honeymoon phase can sometimes be in a little waiting period, because we're colliding this, or we're basically transforming this trauma, and like two trauma bodies collide, and so together we are entangling this mess. So the thing is that most of our trauma is created in family pods. It's created from our mothers, fathers, and in the families we grew up in. So the only way, I don't want to limit us, but the only way that I see right now is that this trauma will untangle and transform and heal in the same constellation. That means when you are coming together in a relationship with someone, when you are becoming a family with someone else, this is the space when this trauma is able to come up. Because these aspects, the traumatized aspects, only feel safe in this environment of true family. That trauma won't come up with a therapist. Yes, some aspects of it might, but the real stuff is triggered in your family, and this is what families are for. And in a healthy union, both are aware of it. And this is why at this point, I so believe in commitment. I believe in marriage, and I believe in a safe container. And the nastiest stuff can only come up in a safe container. A marriage is, to me, a very spiritual thing. A marriage doesn't mean, okay, I'm safe, now I'm settling. No, 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 no. Okay, there's a safe foundation, and now let's freaking expand. The problem is in this, to me, damaged culture, we get into relationships, the trauma comes up because we're trying to contain something that is here into this. So we create problems, the trauma comes up, we create resentment, all of this. And then we're like, yeah, I guess this isn't working out, on to the next person. And instead of actually living in this expanded space, we constantly seek that next high. And then if it's not working anymore, because now shit's getting real, because we have to work through this trauma, we're like, you know what? This person isn't my person. I'm done. I'm not saying don't experiment. I'm not saying don't explore. But once you meet someone that shares your core values, expand with that person. And trust me, I can tell you from my own experience, this frequency fence that I had created nearly destroyed my relationship to Alexander, nearly destroyed my relationship to this man that I prayed for, that I dreamed of for years. Okay? So we have to do the work. So sometimes, yes, you are with the wrong person. Cool. Get clear on what you desire in a man and in a relationship and in a union. But sometimes we're with the right person, and this frequency fence is ruining the experience because we're not doing the growth work that is necessary. So this is a really beautiful example of how this frequency fence is creating and experience and trying to fit something big into something small. So I can give you thousands of examples where I did that. Like it's this typical, we're deeper connected than we ever were. It feels more loving. My reality feels like a dream come true, like a paradise. Like there's just love, there's intimacy, my heart is open. And for a day, I'm like living this dream and I'm on this high. And the next day, because my subconscious is like, hey, Melissa, this is our experience. That yesterday was just so much beauty. It doesn't fit into this container anymore. So I pick a fight, or I get angry, or I start to find a problem and allow this problem to alter the way I relate to my man. I start to disrespect him, or I distance myself and I don't speak about it. Things like that. We have to take responsibility for them. Because yes, this might not be awareness. I'm not waking up and saying, okay, and today I'm going to sabotage this because I want to be in the small container. No, we don't do that. That's subconscious. So what we do is the inner work to make the subconscious conscious. And what we do is responsibility for everything that happens in life. Because only then, only if you take responsibility for everything can you actually expand. Because if you don't take responsibility, you'll fall into this victim mentality that will tell you, no, I'm not angry because my frequency fence is here. I'm angry because he did that and that and that. Well, no, you don't have to get angry at this. He might have done this and this and this, but if you're in responsibility mode, if you're in governance mode, you'll be like, okay, and I don't have to get angry at this. So why am I reacting the way I'm reacting? Big difference. So the next one is, what is the addiction to suffering? It's the clinging on to the small container. It's this clinging on to a frequency that at this point just causes suffering. Because let's say your soul, your spirit, your light body actually oscillates on a frequency of, like, I'll just throw numbers, 700. Yeah. That's where it would naturally, if it didn't have this frequency fence, you would naturally oscillate on a frequency of 700 hertz. But this frequency fence only allows for experiences in a range of 300 hertz. So every time you expand that and you feel blissful and you feel gratitude and you feel beautiful, like expansion, anger comes in, resentment comes in, fear will come in to hold you in this frequency fence. That's addiction to suffering. Your body naturally wants to expand your experience to 700 hertz. Oh, wait, let's eat some cheese. Oh, wait, let's drink some coffee. Oh, wait, let's eat some foods that inflame my body. Frequency fence. I'm having this orgasmic day with my man. Oh, wait, fear. He'll die tomorrow. What if he dies? What if he dies? Frequency fence. You get it? So this is really vital. What are basically your guards around the frequency fence? Mine is fear, mine is anger, mine is resentment, things like that. Notice that. What is that for you? So that is what I mean with addiction to suffering. We're addicted to the small container. Because some part of us somehow felt safe. It's not serving us anymore. It's not serving you. Some part of us only felt safe or thought that only this was possible. It's only possible to make $2,000 a month and I have to work my ass off for that. Okay. You accepted that law, and therefore this energetic law was set in place for your reality. Is this still serving you? If yes, go ahead, do that thing. Work this office job, work this 9 to 5 job. Do it. If it's still serving you, beautiful. If you love it, great. If that belief system and therefore law in your reality is still working for you, you go, girl, whatever that is. Okay? Maybe a subconscious belief system set up that relationships are toxic and only hurt you. If that belief system works, great. You go be in this abusive relationship, this hit when it's like good and then it's this roller coaster. If that's still serving you, you do your thing. But if it's not, let's expand that container because it's a decision. Whew. And so I wrote this down because I had to do this all the time. I wouldn't sit here right now if I didn't expand my container around coaching. Yeah. I had this frequency fence around the word coaching because every time I heard the word coach, I saw this fake Instagram, whatever, person in front of me that was how to make $10,000 a month, how to make $100,000 a month by coaching. Let me show you how to create courses. And that energy was just so icky and disgusting to me that I didn't want to be that. And for years this is something I had to work through a lot. Like this is 5 years in the making, right? My friends, like this is big for me. There was just I was just so disgusted by a lot of people that use that term or called themselves coaches. And at some point I had to be like, yo, it does not matter. What does coaching mean in my reality? Because I get to set up what that means. And just because they are annoying and inauthentic people and they are putting a word onto something that I think is sacred work, doesn't mean that I have to go by their laws. So I had to work around that a lot. So for me, I can now proudly say I am a coach. And it depends who I'm speaking to. If it's just passing and someone is asking me, well, what do you do? Depending on their level of consciousness, I can proudly say, I am a coach. If someone with more of an awareness is in my field, I will tell them I'm a guide. And that what that means is when we engage in the sacred agreement of a QHHT session or a 3-month coaching container, it's a sacred role play. And I will be the guide. Okay, I will be the teacher in that container. It feels safe for you to be the student, right? We're setting up jobs. Things get weird and twisted if then the student tries to be the teacher. No, this is a container we set up for you. You get to surrender. I am the guide. I create the structure. I am the teacher. I can now proudly say that because I worked through all of the ickiness I had with that. There is nothing more honorable than being a coach. Because to me, what a coach truly is someone that helps you expand your container. And I couldn't imagine work that is more beautiful and more sacred than this work. So now I'm proudly coaching. I am a proud coach. You wouldn't hear me say that even 2 years ago. I would have been like, yeah, well, I don't really, use that word. What? Okay. I create what that word means for me. To me, it means I'm a guide that will ask you the right questions because that's what coaching is to me. It's not me telling you what to do. When we're in a container, you come in here, this is your plateau. I will come in with a question. And this question comes from an elevated space. So it allows you to untangle your way through that question up here. And we'll do that all over again. That is what true guidance and coaching really is. asking expansive questions. Yeah. And whatever else is needed. So that was my way. I wouldn't sit here if I didn't expand my container, my frequency fence around this. Because before that, my frequency fence around the word coaching was, it disgusts me. Now my frequency fence is more here. I love it. It's sacred work. And whatever anyone else does, that's their business. I redefine what coaching means. The word is now mine. I own this word, okay? I made it mine. And you can do the same thing with everything. Like, people get offended by like this whole genderless movement. You call them a woman. You assumed my gender. Like, it's ridiculous shit. I don't play in that. Like, maybe you have to redefine what woman means for you, or what man means for you. Because to me, woman is an honor. It's a title that, due to my body composition, yes, I am a woman. And I carry that with honor, because a woman is a lioness. She's a protectress. She's a gatekeeper. She's a mother, eternal mother. She's a creatrix. What does woman mean for you? What do you connect to that word, or whatever word, right? We get to set up our own definitions and our own laws and our own belief systems around everything. Everything. And as I speak, I create. Means as I redefine, now a new law is set in place that will work for me, right? So another thing that I thought of this morning, which was really interesting, is I looked at that, and that was just such a beautiful example for a frequency fence. So my man, I think 4 or 5 years ago, he did this 5D Shark Tank thing. So he was basically saying, hey, if any of you have a beautiful idea, like a 5D plus invention, or a spiritual business idea, something expansive, I will coach you for free, and I will sponsor you. I will give you a couple $1,000s to start of this idea. And so he had a couple people that brought in really beautiful ideas and really beautiful inventions. And so he worked with this woman that had this dream of carving. So she carved selenite swords. And so he loved that. So he supported her. He could feel them. I mean, he works with crystals. Of course, like, that was up his alley. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Purging. I love that when that happens on camera, because it's a physical sign that something is clearing. Always beautiful when that happens. So I know I just apologized for it. I take that back. It's actually beautiful. When that happens to you, like, yeah, sometimes it's mucus buildup because you ate too much cheese and milk. But usually when that happens, it's like something is leaving through your throat. So that's a beautiful one. So she carved these beautiful selenite swords, and we have them. Oh, we actually have, one is here. Like, that was her very first one. So, like, that was the first one. And he's like, yeah, this is cool, but there's a lot more you can like you can work on this. And so the third one looked freaking gorgeous. Like, she became better and better and better with this. So he helped her to set up a website. She got an Etsy store. And I think a year in, she got really successful. Like, he coached her throughout the process. And he was so proud because, like, her third sword, like, I'm not going to get it right now, but it's beautiful. Like, you can see the evolution. So this was clearly like, that was just her thing, you know? And so her goal was to quit her 9-to-5 job and create these swords. So a year in, she's getting successful. Her Etsy store is booming. Her website is booming. People are ordering it. And she's actually at the verge of, okay, now I'm making enough so I can live off of this and I can expand. And all of a sudden, I forgot what it's called in English. It's this nerve thing in your hand where a lot of people that sit on computers get it. So sorry, I forgot the English word for it. So she got this nerve problem in her hand and in her wrist. So she told Alexander, well, I guess I can't do it anymore. My body, I just can't do them. So she stopped carving these beautiful selenite swords and went back to her 9 to 5. And he was like so sad because he's like, what's going on? Well, now for me, that was like, I looked at the sword this morning and like, wait, frequency fence. Like, this woman was just such a beautiful experience, or like beautiful example for a frequency fence. He was super sad back then because 5 years ago he didn't get it. He's like, well, what's happening? Like, she's literally on the verge of, I can like sustain myself. And if I quit my job, I have even more time and I can grow and I can make like unlimited amounts. Like, I can make way more than in my job right now. So he didn't get it. And he was kind of like, okay, like, this is really sad. So what's going on? So to me, anyone else may be looking from a more superficial lens, who wouldn't acknowledge the multidimensional intricacies of our existence, would say, well, Melissa, like, her nerve, like, her body just didn't, like, her body didn't make it. She couldn't do it. Her hand was hurting. It was impossible for her. Well, we know better. And that's the whole point when we take full responsibility. If we take full responsibility for everything in life, her question would have been, wait, why am I creating this right now? Why am I creating this nerve pain or sciatica or whatever it was? I don't know the name. Like, why am I creating, no, it's not TMZ. Whatever, you know what I mean. Why am I creating this? And if she asked the question, and if she actually journaled on it, and if she went within, she would have gotten an answer. Because some part was afraid, right? Or whatever it was. There is some subconscious reasoning why she created this. Because consciously, of course, this would have been ridiculous. She wouldn't have like consciously said, you know what? I'm afraid. So I'm going to quit what I just created for the last year and I'm going to stick with my job. That would have sounded ridiculous. So because she didn't want to take ownership for that, she created something through her body that gave her an easy excuse, right? Because if she took ownership for that, she would have had to face it, and then the answer would be pretty ridiculous. So this is why I always encourage everyone to get out of any victim modality. Everything is created by you. Everything. Just a simple rule. Everything is created by me, through me. So if I don't like something, why have I created this? Or why am I creating this? How is it serving me? Because if it wasn't serving some part of me, I wouldn't create it. She didn't get to that inner work. I promise, if she would have done the inner work around it, the pain would have left and she would have continued creating beautiful selenite sculptures, selenite swords. She would have probably had a big store by now, big Etsy store, whatever she wanted to create. But she allowed herself to fall into victimhood rather than taking responsibility. And she's just like, well, guess I can't do it. My body is not doing it. So I'm back. I'm off to this 9 to 5. Where are you doing this in your life? And I wrote down signs of a frequency fence. So, number 1, and I'll probably forget which number I'm at. So let's just start with what we just talked about, physical issues. Most of your physical issues, if not, honestly, I can confidently say all of your physical issues are frequency fences. I've been working with quantum healing over the last 5 or 6 years now. Every session, that I have, and someone comes in with a physical issue, it is always connected to emotions, something DNA related that wants to be transmuted. Yeah, so ancient pain, what I call parallel life or past life pain. Like, I think you heard my perspective around that. Or it's a frequency fence. It's actually an inner aspect, a part of her that is still being served. So, of course, that is then connected to what they're eating and all of it, but it all comes down to a frequency fence most of the time. So, if there are any physical issues in your body right now, take responsibility. Take responsibility. Trust me. Only when we take responsibility will it heal, unless you don't want it to heal, right? So, any physical issues, why am I creating this? How is this serving me? Is this supporting a limiting belief system that I have? Is this upholding a law that I created? Okay? It's somehow upholding this frequency fence. So, like the example I made now, maybe her frequency fence was, well, I don't deserve this. I can't possibly just have, life can't possibly be so beautiful that I get to make money with something that I love to do. As simple as that, right? It's innocent. And if she would have looked at it, she could have easily reprogrammed that belief system into, of course, I only create from beauty. I only make my money with things that are fun and expansive. Duh. Right? And we would have went from here to here. Maybe that's a little journaling, that's release, that's whatever, like whatever it takes. There are systems that we work through that I will connect you with in the coming weeks in my courses. But that's what it is. But because she didn't take ownership for this issue, she excused or took that as an excuse and fall back into victimhood. And it's just like, life is what it is. Yeah, I'm just life is stressful, money is hard, or making money is hard. So she stayed in this frequency fence. So what frequency fence is your physical issue upholding? Yeah, big one. The next one is, okay, also a sign that you're keeping yourself in a frequency fence is pity. Pity is something that I am completely deleting from my reality, because I believe that I am totally capable. And the times that I receive pity, it is literally the most discouraging, disgusting feeling ever. And it's so, like, what it's transmitting is literally, yeah, you're not powerful. I had this back when I lived in Germany, and I was getting out of a really tearing me apart kind of situationship. Yeah. I I was at my lowest point. I was smoking weed back then. I had a completely acne breakout. I looked like a junkie. I literally did. Like, I can show you all pictures. And I was just broken. I had no self-worth. I felt disgusting. I was addicted to this person. I was addicted to this pain. And my ex, and I don't want to call him my ex, he was like my brother. Like, I met him when I was 14. He was like an angel from an ancient lifetime. Like, I remember this person. He's an angel. So he was like my bigger brother too, and it was an interesting dynamic. And when he saw me like that, at some point he was, I think, so sad. He looked at me with pity. Before that, he was always like, "What are you doing, girl? Like, what is this?" But there was a certain point where I felt like such a lost case for him. He just looked at me with pity. And when he gave me this look, which is like unspoken. It's an energy transmission, right? Every emotion, every feeling is an energy transmission. When he looked at me with pity, something in me shifted. I was like, wow. I don't know what that was. I couldn't put words on it in that moment. It took me months to look back at it, or maybe even years, and be like, wow, wait, that devastating look, that was pity. And it was even more disencouraging. And it's what I needed. I needed that. I needed to see, wow, I got so low that people look at me with pity, that people can only look at me with a sense of, you're not going to get yourself out of this. I'm so sorry for this. Wow. So then when I went to LA, I had to deal with a lot of homelessness, like just my little walk to the gym, like 20 homeless people around me. And at first, like my heart, I just had so much pity and I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I'm like, wait, what is this? Is this really true? And so at this point, I completely transmuted all of this shit. When I see a homeless person, I do not feel any sense of pity, nothing. What I transmit is, well, you created that. Why have you created that? Oftentimes, I spoke to a lot of homeless people. I can clearly see that what thought structures created this situation. It's not by accident. It's not. They've created it. The problem is they haven't taken ownership for it. They're stuck in victim mentality. They're stuck in victimhood and in many other things, drugs whatsoever. But the drugs just reaffirm, right? The drugs, I want to go so far that the drugs did not create that, but the drugs reaffirm this frequency fence. So as someone takes ownership, they will break the frequency fence. And then the drugs, this is the moment when they get out of addiction. Like that's why so many people struggle with addictions, because it's not the addictions, it's the frequency fence. And subconsciously, they have locked themselves into this. So the moment they're going through a rehab, all of a sudden there's a container expansion, but there aren't the proper tools to help them expand the container. So all of a sudden the life is so beautiful, blissful, and they're like, I can't take it, back to addiction. They're addicted to suffering. They're stuck in this frequency fence. It's not necessarily the drug itself. So when I see homeless people, what I now send is, I see you, you are capable, you have all the tools you need to get out of the situation right now, right? Like I see people like totally capable, like healthy men in their 50s holding up a sign. And I'm like, dude, you could literally knock on every restaurant's door and ask to wash the dishes or ask if they need help. And trust me, out of 10, at least 3 will say yes. You're just stuck in a weird paradigm. So I send that. I send responsibility. I send, well, take responsibility. And you actually have many options. Before that, I would look away or I would feel pity. I don't do that. If there's someone looking at me, I will look at them and my eyes will transmit, I see you. And the game you're playing, you don't have to play. And I know you're looking for energy. Like a lot of like homeless people also, they look for this like, oh, look how good you're doing and look how much I'm suffering. Like, look at me, deal with that. Like there is that. If you observe enough homeless people, you'll find that. And at this point, I'm like, yes, I'm looking at you. And you know what? Take responsibility for your life. This is what my eyes are sending you. You're not getting anything else from me. You're not leeching on my energy. I'm not feeling sad or bad for the beauty I created. So that's what I'm transmitting. And I also don't feel obligated to give money. I don't. Not at all. Sometimes I do. But when it feels right, there was this lady where you could, man, whew, like I remember her. With her, I gave money because I'm like, yes, you got this. You got this. There was this strength in her that I could feel. And she's like, shit, like I don't know what else to do. The only option I have is stand here with a sign. And if that's what I do, I'm at my lowest, but I do it. Like with her, I could see that it took so much for her to stand there with a sign. It took everything. And with her, I'm like, I see you and you'll get out of this lioness. And I gave her money because that, to me, of course, I support that reality. I don't support someone who's in self-pity, because then I'm giving this money to him and what I support is more self-pity. I don't do that. So it really depends on the vibration someone's at. Or sometimes I will give food or whatever. It depends. So in that, if I trained myself to see a homeless person as capable, I cannot have pity for anyone else. So there were moments with my mom where I felt sorry for my mom, or I felt something like sadness for my mom. And I had to get out of this. I'm like, wait, I'm at this point where I believe a homeless person is capable. But I think that a woman that has a roof over her head, can feed herself in Germany, isn't capable of putting into Google inner work, inner child healing, right? Because there was a point where I'm like, only I can help my mom. And if I don't be the therapist for my mom, she's not going to heal. What? That is some BS belief structure. Because it's like, literally, I trained myself to not feel any pity for any homeless person because I see the truth behind it. But for my mom, I felt pity, and I believe that my mother, who has a laptop and a phone and who can spell and who can write and who is intelligent, couldn't find German help on the internet. She can. If she wants to, if she decides to heal, she will be led to all the right resources. She will be led to the right books, the right people, the right German YouTube video or whatsoever at the right time. So at this point, if you feel pity for yourself, same thing applies. Same thing applies. There is a moment where you can feel grief. I'm not saying that's different. There is a moment where you can acknowledge, wow, I suffered a lot and I am fucking sorry. Wow, my inner child went through a lot of pain and I acknowledge that and I hold you in that pain, little girl. I hold you. That's different than pity. Pity is something that I caught myself in throughout this relationship. This basically, like, why, God? Why? No, no longer allowed. Why have I created this situation? It's not, why, God, are you putting me? No. Why have I created this? What part of me is it serving? What frequency is it serving? Okay? So, vital one. If you catch yourself feeling pity, it's probably your frequency fence. So, no victim mentality is ever allowed. No victim mentality is ever allowed. So, regardless of what's occurring in my life, I am now training myself to take responsibility for all of it. For all of it. Okay? That doesn't mean if whatever something falls and breaks, I'm gonna like journal on it for 20 hours why it broke. We're also not getting too anal about that, but I think you get the point. Ooh, lots of stuff is clearing from the field. That's good. That's really, really good. Next one, anger, frequency fence. As simple as that. Someone who's continuously angry, frequency fence. Yes, it's connected to your liver. Do some liver cleansing stuff. Help it with the right nutrition. Right nutrition is always the base for everything. But anger is a frequency fence. Like in my relationship, again, I told you this, we had this beautiful day, intimate, like a deep connection. The next day, I would get angry for no reason, basically. I would just wake up angry. I would wake up with a closed heart and angry. And I would find something that would make me even more angry, right? That was my frequency fence. So if you find yourself in that, every time you get angry, it's because it fits into this frequency fence. Expand the container. Sometimes anger is a vital emotion that helps transformation. But if you feel yourself stuck in that emotion, if anger is kind of like a base resonance for you, expand that frequency fence, like real quick, okay? Like sometimes anger helps us to see that, ooh, shit, like someone broke a boundary that I didn't create yet, okay? Or someone is treating me in a way that I do not accept any longer. Yeah, there are times when anger is vital and important, beautiful. But if it's an emotion that is just there and it's kind of like a base resonance, like for me, there were months on end where I would wake up in anger with a closed heart. That was my frequency fence. Big time. I had to work through that with a lot of different avenues. Next one, fear. Frequency fence. If you catch yourself having fearful thoughts, you're being stuck here or it's keeping you trapped here. Expand that. Like, I'm having a beautiful day. I'm so in love. I feel my heart is opening. And what if Alexander dies? What if your mom dies? Hey, she could die any second. And how is that thought serving me? How is it serving me? If it's not serving me, if this is just fear, it's a frequency fence. Like, thank you. You can leave. It doesn't serve me to think about that right now. I rather bathe in this joy and then intimacy we have. So bye. Okay. So what is that for you? What's that fear frequency that comes in to hold you in a certain containment? The next one, also vital. It's addiction to too much talking. Okay. That's a sign that you're addicted to suffering. It's a sign that you're in a frequency fence. Are you talking too much? Like, I'm speaking a lot right now because I'm in a container of teaching. If I'm one-on-one with you, I'm usually more observant and I'm more still. And a lot of times words transport us from a deep energetic space to a more mundane, superficial space. Now, we can use words to take us deeper, but that takes awareness. A lot of times, words will take us to the surface level. And I saw that with, like, my mom and her boyfriend were just here visiting me from Germany. And it was so interesting for me to see that stillness was just a lot of times something that wasn't available for them. Like, every space had to be filled with words. And so we were driving down Sedona, and Sedona is just awe-inspiring. It's just like, to me, this environment leaves you speechless. And they're here for the first day, and we're driving down a road, and there are mountains they've never seen before. And instead of like looking around and just taking in this beauty, my mother's boyfriend keeps talking about the German Autobahn and how the fucking A7 is being Kassel, yeah, is being repaired and whatsoever, and the bridges on the Autobahn are being repaired. And I'm like, bruh, what is happening? You are in sacred land. You are surrounded by mountains that are so beautiful that they leave you speechless. And instead of like taking this in, you're speaking and speaking and speaking about whatever is just pointless. It is like absolutely nonsense. And at a certain point, I called him out. I'm like lovingly, playfully. I'm like, Manfred, we're here right now. Like, why are you speaking about the German Autobahn and the bridges that are being repaired? I mean, like, just like, look. And he even like, he giggled and he recognized it. And he's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I do that. Like, that was actually beautiful. Like, there was awareness that came in. Did he still do it? Yes. But he actually caught himself a couple times. It was impressive, to be honest. That was a container expansion. Yeah. In the beginning, my partner, Alexander, every time we we were about to get really intimate, when we were just looking in each other's eyes, he would start to speak. He would start to just speak words. And it took us a long time for both. There was probably also in me that kept intimacy away. Like he was a mirror for something. But it was interesting for me. I'm like, can we just like be? And he wasn't able to be yet. His frequency fence couldn't hold that amount of intimacy without feeling fear. So he would speak a lot and he would basically talk us out of intimacy. And so now every time that happens, because I mean, he's a Leo, he speaks a lot, but there's so much awareness now. And when that happens, I just need to look at him. I just need to give him this little like, yo, daddy, come back. And he's like, oh shit, yeah, I'm back. So frequency fence, right? So where are you doing that? Are you over talking in moments where you can actually just take in the beauty and experience the beauty that's within all the time? It's within you at all times. And you always have access to it. Another one is resentment. And again, you could say, yeah, but I'm resentful because the person did that. No, you're resentful because you choose to, and you're choosing to. Someone can fuck up. That's fine. It happens. Someone can fuck up. You're the one that decides if you're going to resent that person or if you're going to forgive them for it. And yes, sometimes forgiving takes time. Sometimes it's you saying, hey, in order to forgive you, it would help me if you did this and this and this action. Like, especially for men, give them tangible action steps. If they fuck up, and they will, and we will, what can I do? Like, okay, Alexander did actually something really freaking masterful the other day. Like, got me so wet because it was so masterful. We were having a conversation and I got all riled in this conversation, and I got riled and I started to get irrational. So I started to say things like, you never did this and you didn't change anything, which is absolutely irrational. He changed a lot. Like, we were talking about something specific. And instead of spiraling into this BS with me, he looked at me and he's like, hey, ooh, wait. Like, what you just said pisses me off so much. So in order to continue this conversation, I need you to at least say two things that I changed, or two reasons why you're wrong for saying that. I need that, or I'm not going to continue this conversation, because that was just big BS and I feel disrespected and I feel like not valued and not seen. So quit that BS. And unless you say these two things, this conversation's over. And he was firm with me, and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, that was BS. And in that moment, it took me a little, because that, that weird, irrational, like, fight response came out, and I'm like, oof, wait, yeah, you're right. Okay, wait, you actually changed this and you did this and you did this, and you're actually a freaking great man. So I apologize. And he took a breath and he's like, okay, let's continue. And I'm like, oh, that was great. Like, that was great. That was some man code stuff. That was like some freaking incredible container holding. Like, that's the shit we like as women. So as an example, right? So he could have chosen to now resent me. He could have chosen that, okay, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to resent her for the next 5 days. Resentment is a frequency fence. Someone fucks up, okay, let's resolve it in the moment. Or tell the person, hey, this is what I would need for you. This would really help me. Like, almost like an offering. Yeah, it's an offering to something bigger. Hey, let's do this ceremonial type of action so I feel good in forgiving you, or I feel good in letting this go. Or if you rebuttal on that, it would make me feel like you've actually heard me, and then I can let it go. Okay? No one forces you to resent someone. And I had that also the other day. And I like to give you really little tangible examples, because then you can catch yourself in these little examples, because it's in the everyday situations, right? It's maybe not even this big person that you're still resenting from fifth grade. It's little moments. Like, he got like, I was on my period, and I was kind of like, I didn't honor my body enough, so I went to Home Depot with him when I should have just stayed at home. But I was excited, so I did it. And the moment we got into Home Depot, the halogen lights, it was all too much, and my energy dropped from here to like literally zero. And so I just got a little distanced. And he came to me and he was basically, yo, why are you closing off? Like, don't talk to me like that, or like, don't give me this answer. And he was kind of a little rough with me. And so I got angry. And then we went to Walmart, got like ran some errands, and I waited in the car because I'm like, I'm not coming into this like store. I can't handle this right now. And then he came back in, and I'm like, I'm still punishing him. Why am I still punishing him? Like, he came into the car, and my natural, like, or learned automatic response was, well, he talked to me like that, so I'm closing off right now. And I sat in the car, and we were driving on our way home, and I'm like, I'm observing myself, and I'm like, damn, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not, like, I'm feeling like I'm punishing him, but I'm also punishing me because I'm not in joy. My heart isn't open, and I'm not having fun. So who am I punishing? I'm punishing myself. So in that moment, I'm like, look, Daddy, I didn't like the way you talked to me. So how are you going to make up for that? Like, how are you going to resolve that? And that broke it. And we had a conversation, and we untangled that stuff. And we actually got to the initial reason why he got a little wordy with me, which was even before that. But if I now did my learned automated response, which is, okay, now I'm punishing you, and until you apologize, I will walk around in a crappy mood and not talk to you or give you little like snappy answers. And I'm like, what? This is twisted frequency fence. So in that moment, my heart was closed. So it took me a little bit, but I'm like, yo, Daddy, I didn't like the way you talked to me. Expand. This is not allowed. Resentment is not allowed. Resentment is a frequency fence. It's a container issue. It's a limiting belief that is being reaffirmed constantly. Okay? We're done with that. So, on that note, let's learn to become children again, because children don't have frequency fences. Children feel anger in one moment, and in the next moment, they're laughing and dancing and having fun. They're not having a frequency fence. They're just living. So let's become children again. I'm sad. Okay, I have a big cry and laugh in the next moment. The only reason why we hold on to this sadness is this frequency fence that we're all subconsciously carrying. And I know I said the word like 100 times in this video, and I know I showed it with my hand gestures 100 times. I just really want to hammer this in. This is all self-created. Subconsciously, by taking on other people's stuff, programming, we can decide that we're expanding this frequency fence. Okay, so, wow, we're on it for a long haul. Or we're in it for the long haul. Yeah, next ones. Food addictions. They keep you in a frequency fence. They keep you addicted to suffering. So drop the caffeine, drop the sugar, drop the gluten, just drop it. So for me, anything that isn't the highest good for my body, it just has to go. I'm stronger than this. I'm done with suffering. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm not addicted to it anymore. So everything that is a remainder of that low frequency just has to go. So for you, whatever that is it sugar? Is it caffeine? Whatever it is, it has to go. Decide that it's going and stick with it. You're stronger than this. Music. What music are you listening to? Is the music you're listening to reaffirming this frequency fence? When I met Alexander, like, we have waves in life, and he was going through a rough patch. And I'm observing all of this, and I'm like, you're holding yourself in a quite low vibration. Like, for the expansive being and the God that you are, you're keeping yourself here. That's not the Magi that I know. Like, what are you doing? Like, he was listening to certain music, he was eating certain stuff, and I just like that was so clear to me when I saw it, because I came in with a very different vibration and I observed his everyday life, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, you're holding yourself in a frequency fence, and the music, the food, the addictions, he even smoked back then, they're all like the guards of this frequency fence that make sure that this fence does not expand. And I'm just like, some titty action going on right here. I like it. I like it. Okay. Sorry. Next one is friendships, toxic relationships, lifeless relationships, gossip in friendships, all of this. Just say no to it and say yes to what you desire. It's actually that simple. The only reason why you're having people around you that are not mirroring your soul's essence and your desires is because this frequency fence is in place. If this frequency fence is not in place anymore, or you expanded it, it's easy for you to just like, no, I'm not going there, or no, I don't want to hang with this person anymore, or no, this person isn't allowed in my inner circle anymore. It gets easy. It gets easy. We're not addicted to this suffering anymore. Also, like, things like avoiding working out, yoga, stretching. You're keeping yourself in a frequency fence. Stop it. Go work out, go stretch. Like, when you're stretching, you're literally expanding. Do yoga, move energy. Stop avoiding meditation. And to me, I do specific practices that actually help channel my creative sexual energy through my body and work with it. So when I say meditation, like, some people think it's just sitting down and not doing anything. To me, it's learning to become masterful with energy manipulation. So stop avoiding it. Like, these are the things, like, this is what will actually create expansion in your life. FOMO. FOMO is a sign that you're in a frequency fence. No person that lives in bliss and beauty and in their soul's abundance feels FOMO. Like, I can guarantee you that. FOMO is fear. It's, shit, I'm not feeling it, but what if I'm missing out on something? You're not trusting your intuition. And you're not trusting that wherever you are is perfect and life is happening where you are. Life is happening where you are. The good stuff is happening where you are, not somewhere else. So FOMO is what, like, and I've had that in the past days. Every time I experience, like, I don't feel it, but I don't want to miss out on something. I don't feel it, but what if they're having fun? Anytime I didn't feel it, the night was shitty, or I wasn't supposed to be there. As simple as that. And FOMO will get you into environments you're not meant to be in, whatever that is. I mean, I don't play in that field anymore, but is it clubs? Is it bars? Is it even restaurants? Whatever it is it like having a drink with your coworkers after work? Like, if you aren't feeling it, don't go. You are where the party is, meaning you bring the party. You bring the bliss. It's happening where you are. Life does not happen away from you. It happens within you and in your field. So FOMO is a sign that your frequency fence is really containing. Burst it, expand it. Okay. The other one is use your voice. If you're not using your voice, you're missing out on the biggest vehicle to burst this container. Like, if you are learning how to utilize your voice, if you're exploring your voice, the frequency of your authentic voice will slash this container. It will expand it. So play with the voice, right? Like you can sing from a deep space, from a womb space that will expand this container. It's not your throat voice. It's the voice of your womb channeled through your throat. Play with this as a woman, especially, as a man too, but as anyone, play with this. Your womb is transmitting the frequencies of truth, and truth will always burst a frequency fence. And the biggest one, complaints. Complaints. Okay? They got an extra chapter because they're so sneaky. I'm going to take a sip. The biggest sign that you're reaffirming your frequency fence is complaints. Wealthy people don't complain. And when I speak about wealth, I speak about beauty and abundance on all levels of existence. That's wealth to me. And wealthy people do not complain. So, what I wrote down is complaining is pretending something is bothering you. Like it's so annoying. It's really annoying. Complaints are pretending something is bothering you. In actuality, you carve out more space for this particular frequency. So, in actuality, complaints are reaffirming the placement of the frequency fence and actually repairing the fence, making sure the fence stays nice and tight. That's what complaints really are. So it's a really, really distorted habit. It's an addiction to suffering. So catch yourself. When you're complaining, and I'm doing this with my man all the time. We have this little game where we're like, okay, you have 17 seconds. Because 17 seconds is like apparently scientifically proven what allows you to emit a certain frequency and not have it affect your field. So like sometimes like he's Italian, Portuguese from the East Coast. Like the East Coast just has this thing ingrained in him. And he loved to complain. He just loved to complain. And a part of him also loved to gossip. It's just like sometimes when he's on the phone with his mom and his mom's talking about some friend or whatever, and he's almost like, tell me about it. Like I can see that coming out in him. And it's like this Italian broad in him or whatever that is, that it's just like, tell me about it. I want to learn, like, how did they fuck up? I want to learn more. Yeah, she's always been a bitch. And I'm like, what the fuck? And at this point, it's just hilarious to me, and we both make fun of it. But it's like gossip and complaints are on the same level, okay? So I'm saying complaints because complaints is like gossiping about reality, basically. Like complaints are gossip about reality. And anytime you do this, you're pretending something's bothering you, but what you're actually doing is you're painting the frequency fence. You're making sure it's nice and tight. You're repairing little holes that would have almost expanded it. You're like, nope, you're staying tight. That's what complaints do. If you have to just vomit for a second, keep it short. Like keep it short and sweet. Like we're playing this whole game now that if something pissed us off or something's annoying us about the reality and we're just not in the mode yet where we're like, well, this is annoying. I want to say that it's annoying and then I want to reaffirm what I actually desire. Like sometimes you cannot skip immediately to the desire because it's fun to say, this freaking pisses me off. So we have this little game where we're like, okay, 17 seconds, go. And we're like, okay, done. So now what I'm affirming is what I desire is that. That feels really fun to me. So this is almost like our little game now. And we're catching ourselves now. We're catching ourselves. No complaints. We're holding each other accountable. And maybe you can skip right to the desire. But anytime you complain, listen deeper, because behind your complaint is a desire. Like, go to that desire, because the desire is what expands your frequency fence. So what's the desire? What would you like in your reality? Because everything else is pretending it's bothering you, but you're actually enjoying the F out of it. So quit that. It's annoying. That's why I don't do gossips. I don't do complaints. I don't do it. I don't do it. I'm not engaging in this. I desire this. So everything else that is not this will have to fall away. And if it's not falling away, it's because some part of me is keeping it. So here I am. I'll take responsibility. What's the part that's keeping it? Because if it's annoying me, but it's still here, I'm creating this. So which aspect of me is creating this? And this is where we're also getting into parts work, which is coursework that I'm doing. I'm doing this in my Wheels of Fortune that is coming out really soon, where we'll work through all the things, all the basic levels, all the chakras. So parts work is a part of that. So there's some aspect of you that's holding on to that. So work on this. I want to leave you with a solution. And again, the deeper stuff will be in my coursework because it's just more extensive stuff. But the solution is, for complaints and specifically, and all the things, like if you want to expand this fence, this frequency fence, what do you desire? And watch, because this is getting really interesting. And I want to give you, just as a last example, because we're already like 1.5 hours in. This is really long. But again, this was a vital transmission, and it was in the cards that my man dropped today. Like, it's going on collectively. So I know this is a very vital video that will change a lot of things in your existence if you're actually allowing this transmission to penetrate you and penetrate your life. So write out your desired outcome, whatever that is, and observe your body. So for me, what I always wanted was, I want more financial flow, because I observed constriction in my reality. So I'm like, why is there constriction? I want flow. So I wrote it down. I wrote down all, like, the life that I desire. I wrote down the financial situation I desire in the moment. I wrote down my perfect day. I wrote down my new belief structures around money. I wrote down all of it. And as I was reading it, you would expect that my body felt open and expansive. But my body actually felt super constricted and overwhelmed. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? Here I'm reading out my desired reality, but my body feels constricted. Why is that? And then I went into that and I journaled on it and I kept writing, and I didn't leave until I had the answer. So why did I feel overwhelmed? And what I took from that is, okay, apparently there is a belief structure in me that says financial flow and financial fluidity is overwhelming. Okay, is that true? No, it's not. But which part believed that? And it was interesting. And what I detected was my inner teenager. And it's why? Because my inner teenager, I made her responsible to make money at the age of 15, or I just turned 16. So I worked like really crappy jobs. And so she was the one in charge of the financials. And for my inner teenager that back then took charge for the financials and just worked her ass off, literally, had to train that booty on. So she was overwhelmed because the only concept that little teenager knew, like, she was smart as F, but she only knew, okay, I have to hustle. Like, I have to trade in my lifetime for money, and I have to work a job that I freaking hate. I hate it. I make it fun, but I hate it. And I have to trade in my lifetime. Like, I was the best cashier you've ever seen, okay? But I hated it. I was the sweetest to the customers and I made everyone's day, but I hated it. I hated to be in this environment and I felt trapped in there. I felt responsible. I felt like there was no other job for me. And I felt like the only way to make more money is work more hours. So that part of me was somehow still in charge over my financials. So no shit that this part felt overwhelmed because I expanded, I desired flow, I desired income, outcome, just a very easy financial flow. And in the background, this is where parts work comes in, there was a teenager that was like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? I just have 24 hours a day and like, I don't know how we're going to do this. And I don't want to do this because I hate this job. I don't want to work more hours, right? This is shamanic work. There is this frozen aspect in time that was like, yo, I don't want to do this. So my governess had to come in and be like, sweetheart, ooh, what do you want to do? You're on eternal vacation right now. All you get to do is have fun. Like, you are never in this life ever working a job again that you hate. You are only making your money with creation. Money is fun for you. In fact, you don't even have to worry about the money. Like, you just do what's most fun for you, and the empress, the governess, is taking care of the money. So, baby girl, you have fun. Whether that is making music, whether that is making informational content, whether that is studying for you, or reading, or twerking, or working out, or hanging out with friends, or making fun food. Like, you get to do whatever you want to do, whether that is making ridiculous skits with your hubby. Like, you get to do your thing. Okay, you go have fun, whether that is exploring your body. You are a teenager again, and you get to be this teenager, and you are not responsible for the finances anymore. The governess, the empress, is now the one in charge. And this is multidimensional work. This is shamanic work, but this is only something that can be revealed. And these frozen aspects can only be freed if we do the work. Okay? So that one is vital. This is $1 million information, my loves. This is stuff that is in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of course material. I am giving this for free because I don't work like that. I don't contain my information. What is mine is yours, and I offer that freely. And so another fence stuff, okay, yeah, frequency fence, just because it's free information doesn't mean you don't have to take it in. You're allowed to take this information in and have this information transform your life. I'm offering this from my heart. I'm not skipping my workout because I'm going later, but I skipped the workout with my man because it was on my heart to share that with you, because I know someone requires this information right now. So honor this information, honor me, and the way you honor me is by implementing this and like expand. You deserve bliss, you deserve joy, you deserve laughter, you deserve observing consciousness, you just deserve 0-point consciousness neutrality, but you also deserve fun. You deserve all of it. You create, you decide. You're the gatekeeper and you're the fence expander. So expand. I gave you a lot of tools right now, and I gave you a lot of things to work through and observe in your reality. So I love you from the core of my being. I see you next time. And the next video is going to be a delicious one. It's going to be a interview with Christina about quantum grammar. So stay tuned. Like and subscribe, and please comment. Please subscribe. Let's get this going. Let's get this information out. I'm ready. I love you.